Good evening, everyone. I'm Dr. Erika coming at you from my home. This has been a long week where the kids have been home and everyone's been super stressed with everything that's going on with the coronavirus. Here's some advice that I give everybody. Number one is to stay put, don't get antsy at home. And if you're told to stay home on quarantine, it's really important that you do because of the impact that you can do on other people's lives. It's even if you're feeling okay and if for some reason you've been exposed, it's really important that you stay put because other people that are immunocompromised can and will be affected. So really important, number one, is to take care of yourself, to take care of your health, to take care of your making sure that you're sleeping well, as well as eating healthy and drinking lots of fluids. The other thing is making sure that you have enough medication in the home, that especially if you're elderly, that you ask your doctor for a 90-day supply. Also, if you're a pediatric patient, if you have children, there's lots of websites now online that you can go on to, such as for Allied Pediatrics. There's Anytime Pediatrics that you can do some telemed. So if you're not feeling well and for some reason you might have been exposed, it's really important that you try to do telemed first if it's something that's not urgent and something that most likely can be treated at home. Again, if it's an emergency, of course, call your doctor or go to an emergency room. Again, it's important that you are taking care of yourself and your loved ones, making sure there's enough food, there's enough medication, as well as enough water. As well as there's other things that we need to think about, such as keeping ourselves busy. Now, with parents that are home now with their children and children need to get things done as far as academics, some things we can do at home that not just the stuff that the teacher teaches us, but for instance, tonight, I did an experiment with the kids. We were talking about chocolate and what was the melting point of chocolate and what was the freezing point of chocolate. So when did chocolate become liquefied and when did chocolate become a solid again? So it was a great experiment as well. It was a fun thing to do with the kids because they know there was a reward at the end. There's other things you can do with your children that you probably didn't have time in the past. You know, we were all working, New York, wherever you live, we're always on the go. And, maybe this is somewhat of a signal to tell us to slow down and, take our time. Let's cook. Let's not do fast food. Let's cook. Let's cut up some vegetables. Let's get everybody involved. One person makes the salad. One person cuts up the vegetables. Another person helps out with cooking the food that we can simmer. We can take our time, go through recipes. That's another great activity throughout the day to do with our children. I know that the academics are important, but all the things that go along with putting your household together, such as making your beds every morning and just, all things that are important for routines. Again, I'm Dr. Erika, and I'm here to talk to you about making yourself feel good, making sure that you're taking care of yourself and that you're helping others that may not be as positive as you are. Maybe go for a walk with your family. You can still go outside. You can take a walk with your family, go on your bicycles with your family. Don't come in close contact with other people, but it's important that you still get outside, go down to the beach, go pick some shells. Even if it's cold out, put a jacket on, put a hat on, whatever it is, whatever it takes. There's so many other activities, and I'm sure that you can find something to do. You can make a crafting project, such as sewing. You can teach your daughters or your sons to sew. Use a needle and thread. Go back to old school. Maybe, island people, I lived in the Dominican Republic for 4 years, and, everybody does everything super slow. And coming from New York and Miami, it made me feel like, oh my God, it takes like 5-10 minutes to make a cup of coffee because they would make each individual cup of coffee at a time. So nothing was just to go. And, those people live a lot longer. You see, these island people live until their 90s, 100s, and it's because they're not rushing. And maybe it's time for us to slow down. And, I talked to a really good friend of mine from medical school, one of my roommates from medical school, Christy, and I remember everything with her, she was like taking her time, the way she cooked, the way she did everything. And, it taught me a lot about taking your time and putting your heart into things. And just because you're doing things at a different pace, it doesn't mean it's not at a good pace. So maybe a little bit of a slower pace is good for us Americans, to just take it down a notch, take it back a step, and just to be with each other. And this is a message for today. Look at what we have and look at what's around us, and don't think about, oh, we can't go outside or we can't socialize, but look how lucky we are and what we have. And even if it's just being with our family and putting together a little bit of rice, making a little rice and beans, and it's not a joke, but that's what we used to do in the Dominican Republic. That was our staple. And you know what? Having rice and beans in the house can last forever. So, I lived almost off of nothing when I lived in the Dominican Republic. I lived there for 4 years. There were times that most of the time, we had no running water, and we used to have to bucket ourselves, literally. As well as we studied by candlelight. And, here we are, we have electricity, most of us, and running water, and lots of, we have internet. There's things that can keep us entertained all day long. But the reality is we don't even need all of that. Just being with each other is enough. So look what you have. It's enough. So again, this is Dr. Erika coming at you, just saying, be good to yourself, take care of yourself, and this too shall pass. But again, appreciate everything that's around you, and have a beautiful night. Bye-bye.